What's going on YouTube? Brad Vapes here. Today we're going to be looking at a iClear 30. We received this from e6onlinesuperstore.co.uk. The link will be up here or up here. So yeah, we're just going to jump straight into it, have a look at it, and then we'll show you how to refill it and we'll talk about all the specs. Okay, so this is the box that the iClear 30 comes in. As you can see, it's just a standard box. It's nice and firm, and it also came in a bubble wrap jiffy bag, so it's arrived completely safe. And we're just going to open this up and we're going to have a look at what's inside the box. Okay, well, it was a lot harder to actually get inside of the box than I expected, but so obviously you've got the included iClear 30. It's got a head in there, if you want to call it a head. It's kind of got like the coil and wick in there. The drip tip comes with a little drip tip protector, and the drip tip is actually like a swivelly drip tip, which is pretty cool. Right now it's quite stiff, but I've used one of these before and I know that they do loosen up after time. But other than that, nope, there's nothing else in the box, so it just comes with the one head. So if you want to buy more, you've got to purchase them online. Shows you how to refill it on the box. It's got a smart code thing. The coil included in here is a 2.1 ohm coil, and it's got a replaceable dual coil in here. It's stainless steel, it's got a rotatable drip tip, and it's got a little barcode on here just so you can be sure that it's an authentic product. Okay, so I'm going to be putting this on top of my iTaste VV V3, but just to make sure it looks nice, I'm going to put on this beauty ring, which did not come included with this atomizer, but it's just something which I had lying around. And it's going to make it look a lot nicer because the iTaste is smaller in diameter than the Clearmizer, so you can see that looks quite nice. The coil is reading out at 2 ohms, which is 0.1 ohms less than the box states, but that's not something which I'm going to really be bothered about. Okay, so as you can see, the wicker material is silica, and I'm not usually a fan of silica. I just prefer the way cotton vapes and the way cotton feels. We're just going to quickly take this apart, and you can see that you've got a drip tip here, which is not a 510 drip tip because it's got threading on it, so you've got to screw it down onto your device. And then this top section comes off, and then the tank comes off. And the tank also has the measurements on it, which go from 1 mil to 3 mil, and 3 mil is the maximum amount of liquid which you can put in here. And then this head does just unscrew from a little base section in here, and that's how you get your connection. If you've been vaping a certain liquid in here and you want to change over to something else, all you got to do is clean the wicks and the coils with some water by taking the head out and cleaning it like over the sink. And then once you've cleaned it, let it dry, or you can maybe help it dry by dabbing it with a bit of tissue. And then all you got to do is pulse the coils until all the gunk and all the dampness and all the previous liquid are out of there. And this is doable because silica is inflammable. Unlike cotton wicks or other kinds of wicks, you can dry burn silica. Now we're going to put it back together, and all you got to do is put the rubber piece back on top of the head, and then put the tank back on. It works both ways with the mils going up or down, but obviously you want the mils to go down. By that I mean the measurements. And you can fill it up now, or you can put it all back together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up now with just some DIY e-liquid which was sent to me by someone over on UK Vapors. All you got to do is just make sure you fill it down the sides. This atomizer is pretty forgiving because obviously the coil has got a big rubber bit covering it, so you can't really get it down the middle. And just make sure you don't go over the max line, which I'm right up to it. So now that it's filled, he's going to put this top section back on. Then you're going to screw your drip tip back in place. And then you're going to sit this down, let the wicks soak up all the liquid, let the coils get nice and saturated, and then after a couple of minutes you're ready to vape. Okay, so this is the iClear 30. It's a 2 ohm coil in here. We've got some 65 VG, 35 PG, no, the other way around, 65 PG, 35 VG e-liquid in here. It's 6 milligrams, and we're running this at 5 volts. So we'll see how this vapes. Starting to get a little bit dry there. but I was chain vaping it, which some clear misers out there do get dry. You do get dry hits, sorry, if you do chain vape them, but that is obviously a flaw which you've got to mention. The swivelly drip tip, it's a cool thing, but I mean, having like that, having your arm out, then I mean, how much of a difference is that going to be? I mean, it's just, I don't see the point in it. I think it's more of a novelty feature than like a practical feature, but I mean, it's a feature nonetheless, so it's got to be mentioned. Having the milliliter measurements on the side of the tank, I think that's really useful. And as you can see, the vapor production, I'll do it again just so I can show you, the vapor production's actually really good for a £10 clear miser. The airflow is quite tight, and if you like a looser draw, then this isn't really going to be for you. I don't know if you can see, but when I was vaping it, I was sucking really hard to get the vapor to come out faster. But I think because of the tight airflow and the dual coils and having it at this setting, it's producing a decent amount of vapor slowly, but because I'm taking such a long, like concentrated drag, it's just making more vapor production in general, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense. It looks alright on the iTaste VV, so if you're going to use like an Ego styled battery or something with Ego threading, you can put on a beauty ring like this, one of these beauty rings. You can find them anywhere, like any vaping shop, in the accessory section. It's going to look decent, but it will also look nice on box mods or on like mechanical mods or something like that. And the flavour, it's actually surprisingly decent. For me with silica, I always get a bit of a dry throat. It hits a little bit for me, which is why I use cotton, and I also use cotton because the flavour's better for me. But the flavour's actually surprisingly really good with this clear miser, especially considering it's only £10. But yeah, as you can see, the vape production is actually quite good for a cheap, not a cheap, but like a cheaply priced clear miser. I've had one of these in the past. It's what I first started off with, but when I had it, the plastic tank cracked. It may have something to do with me using a citrusy e-liquid, and apparently they are tank crackers, so maybe it cracked the tank, and that's what happened to me. But maybe it was just because the tank got weak, because I did use it quite a lot, and then I moved on to pro tanks, which are a step up. But if you're a new vapor, then this is going to be a decent little starter kit for you. It's got lines on this top section and bottom section, so it makes getting the whole thing apart really easy, because it's quite grippy, and the drip tip's quite easy to get out as well. But I found that when I had mine, the more I used it, the harder the drip tip would be to get off, which I thought would be the other way around, but I'd always over tighten it or it would just get stuck on there. But that's not really a big deal, because you never really need to take this drip tip off, as you can't really use any other drip tips. But for a £10 clear miser, you can't complain. Nowadays you can get bottom coiled heads, like the heads go at the bottom, which makes wicking easier. For me, I get better flavour with these bottom coiled atomizers, but this is a top coiled atomizer, and it does work decent. Only thing I can flaw is the flavour is a little bit muted, the draw is a bit too tight for me. I don't like using silica wicks, which is what this is. It's a silica wicked head that's installed in here. But other than that, it's a perfectly decent device. If you're a beginner, you can definitely pick one of these up and you'll be getting a satisfying vape. But just keep all the factors which I've mentioned in the video in mind if you're going to purchase one of these. And that's all I've got to say. So I got this from eCig's online superstore. Make sure to check them out. The link will be up in one of these corners. And yeah, so I'm Brad Vapes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you've got any questions, or if you want to just say hi. Leave a like, because it's always nice. And subscribe if you haven't already, and if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, thank you for watching.